Welcome back. Well, if you think it's hard selling stuff here in Australia, how about trying to break into the US retail market? Jake Tyson has done that, where he got into 10,000 retail stores and top of Amazon with his innovative Redback tools. He's just launched a new company called Pacific Launch, so he can help other Australian entrepreneurs make it big in the US. He joins me now. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're known as, I've got to establish this, you're called the handsome handyman in your numerous US television appearances. I'm trying to do a theory, you know, Don Burke maybe not. Jamie Jury, they like that kind of thing.
I'm trying to lose it. Actually, I was on a morning show there called A Great Day Houston in Dallas, and I was introduced as Jake Tyson, the handsome handyman. I never knew she was going to do that. She must have been drinking that morning, that's what I think.
Well, it is Texas. If you've been to Houston, you would.
Well, I'd been called worse, so I thought I'm going to take that.
So you've used this as your moniker?
I have used it, and it worked in with the business that I was doing, Redback Tools. So it tied in well. I did a lot of TV segments in the States, the Today Show, CBS Early.
But what is it with their love of handymen? As I said, Jamie Jury's big, Oprah, that's it. What is it? Do American men not know how to pick up a hammer?
I don't know what it is. There's certainly a market there. Because it's so huge, there's a market for anything. If you do it right, there's certainly a market there.
Well, just before we get to what you're doing there, let's work to how you got where you are. You've overcome adversity in your life. You had a motorcycle accident. You got this company up. So and then you conquered the US market. So you're not adverse to you can overcome adversity. Presumably.
Well, that's right. It's all about adversity. And if it's free or easy, it's no good. You know, if it's worthwhile, you got to work for it.
But okay, let's look at tools. I mean, I would have thought that's a pretty crowded market. What do yours offer that nobody else does?
It is a crowded market. What Redback Tools did offer, it was different. So it had a point of difference, and I knew it was better than what was being offered out there at the time. And it's also about when you deliver to these corporations or the big retailers, I would go with them with something different than just, hey, will you buy my product? So, for instance, Lowe's,
what was it you offered?
Lowe's were like the 50th biggest company in the world. I went and offered them a marketing plan saying, I'll bring 100,000 more visitors to your store, and the average spend was around $47 per person. So I said, I can bring another 100,000 people to your retail stores. That's $4.7 million. All I want you to do is buy my product.
How on earth do you live up to an ambitious claim like that? How did you get the 100,000?
Well, you've got to do it.
I mean,
you've
anyone can go and say that. How do you do it?
Well, it was through strategic marketing campaign. And as I said, I did the CBS Early Show. 10 million people would watch that. The Today Show. And I did regular segments on there as a DIY expert. And incidentally, my product was always being used when I did these segments and recommended as, here's what you need to do the job at home, which you did. So they were going in buying my product and also spending another $47 on other products.
So did you actually meet the claim of 100,000 people, do you reckon? I mean, how can you establish it?
Absolutely I did. Well, Lowe's at the time...
how much you sold.
One of the merchandising directors of Lowe's came and worked for me after that because he said, I definitely produced the most strategic marketing campaign that Lowe's execs had ever seen.
Did you need to do any of those late night television infomercials?
You know, I did.
What is it? The Maxi Strike?
Yes, I did. I did QVC. Yeah.
And that worked?
QVC was a home shopping network. What was best for me when I knew I was onto something is that when I did A Great Day Houston, I used my product. They put it up on the screen. That day I got #1 bestseller on Amazon.com.
Okay, well the key is obviously to get on television shows. Is that just getting a good PR person then? Well, because I mean, there's a lot of television to fill, as I know, but...
That's the good part that comes if you're lucky enough to do that. But before, there was a lot of groundwork for me before I got the opportunity to go on TV, and that was through selling through QVC, going to trade shows, knocking down doors. It's really hard. I spent probably millions of dollars and years of wasted time because I didn't have the contacts and didn't really know what I was doing. No one could really help me.
So what is the key then?
The key is, and that's why I set up Pacific Launch, because over the years I've had hundreds of people asking me to help them here in Australia and help them launch in the States, and I had my own, you know, business going and I didn't really have the time. And I formulated through all the years all the best people in the industry, be it manufacturing, the best in the rag trade, the best in corporate strategy and finance. They're actually my friends who I worked well with, and they are the best at what they do.
So let me just get this right. Pacific Launch is to help other people follow your example. Are you still doing the Redback tools?
No, I'm not. I resigned from that.
So who owns that now?
Oh, Redback Tool is still a privately owned company by a couple of smaller investors. I resigned.
Do you still have a stake in it at all?
Yeah, I do, but look...
But you're not running it
No,
now.
there's something... It wasn't really my bailiwick, right? Because working...
Well, you seem to have done all right.
Yeah, but the day-to-day running of a business, all the politics, that wasn't really my forte. What I love doing, growing the business, is what I'm
So
good
you
at.
basically say it wouldn't matter what the product was. I mean, basically, if you take your shirt off or you're nice and buffed on American, you could have been Jake the Handsome. I don't
know about that. I say
some other cleaning product person.
Maybe. If you do it better than anyone else, yes. But I save the shirt off for my wife these days.
Oh, okay. But seriously, is it more about, let's be honest, in this day and age, marketing yourself than the product?
It's definitely about marketing yourself, having the right people. I know we've heard that so many times, but you've got to have the right people behind you and who are like-minded and know what you don't know. Like, my expertise is in sales and marketing. Corporate advisory and finance, I do know, but Mark Evans, who is my partner, is the expert in that, and same with manufacturing and retail.
But let's be blunt about this. If Gary, the accountant from Narrabeen, who's, you know, a bit of a nerd, has got a good product,
right,
he's not going to get quite the same attention Jake the Handsome Handyman got, is he? No matter how good his product is.
Look,
being honest.
I was different. I did things different, and that's why it got me to where I was, you know. But in saying that, it took me many years and a lot of money, and that's why I want to... Gary, the accountant from Whoop Whoop, I want to be able to help him with all the contacts that I have and help Aussies do the same that I did through me.
I was looking at some of your tips. I laughed at your dress for success bit. Suits not for you. You said you turned up in thongs, and I thought the end of it was going to be, you know, they were quite surprised in the US, you know, better wear shoes. But you said they thought that was a novelty. It was great.
Yeah, they really did. Well, it actually made sense because it got some attention, and then they go, well, what's this guy had to say? Can he actually get away with it? And I could. It was just a one-off that I tried one day.
Not
I don't make a habit of that.
What are your other top tips then for other people who want to follow it?
Well, my top tips are triple the amount of time and the amount of money that you think it's going to take you, right? That's one big one. Like, definitely, Pacific Launch can do what I did in 1 year instead of 6. You know, in a sixth of the money. If it's free or easy, it's not worthwhile.
So is this basically a consultancy advisory firm? Like
absolutely, we're a consultancy firm.
Like a venture capital group? Sorry, but you're on the marketing side.
Yeah, we're not a venture capital group.
But you're the marketing side.
Yeah, that's right. If you need manufacturing, if you need someone who's an expert in retail, corporate advisory and finance, it's all the best of the best in one team. We all work together in harmony together, and
a lot of people have tried this before. I mean, what's different about yours, apart from, I suppose, the fact you've actually had the success yourself?
There we go.
Thank you. That's your big
it is. It's the people that I use and who the business is with that makes all the difference. All of us are like-minded, experts in our field.
I reckon, I have to say as a journalist, though, you must have had a pretty good PR person over there. Do you recommend the same PR person? Because we know in this day and age there's a lot of lazy financial journalists out there.
It's about clever
PR. They'll just
PR
shove on the handsome handyman. They won't care.
Really?
Yeah, it's hopeless.
I'll take that.
But seriously, is that a key over there? Because it's so important.
It's definitely a key over there. You know how big it is. So you've got to be smart about what you do. I first launched into California because it's like the size of Australia, it's huge, and just do a little bit right and then move on from there.
What was the best show you were on that gave you the best recognition?
It'd have to be the Today Show, the morning show over there with Kathy Lee and Hoda. That really worked well. Okay,
your biggest mistake and the best move you made, presumably going on the Today Show was one of the best moves then?
That was a good move. My biggest mistake would have been assuming how quick I could do it. It's one thing doing it in Australia, doing it over there is a whole different ball game. So I undercut myself in the way I planned forward in my financial status and the amount of time.
Did you have to be based over there, or were you sort of zigzagging?
Yes,
what's the answer on that one?
That's a good one. I had to be based over there. There's a lot of time away from the family, and that's where I spent. To relocate over there and home and all that type of thing, you put a dent in $500,000, and that's why I started Pacific Launch, is because we can do all that without you having to relocate.
I'm just thinking about your timing. The US is not in good shape. We know, gosh, if retail's tough here, I mean, obviously in the US, they've got high unemployment. Lots of people out there have been thrown out of Wall Street, and they're big salesmen. They like to do this. You are competing
They threw
at a tough
themselves
time.
out, didn't they?
Yeah, well,
Wall
they did.
Street, yeah.
True, good point.
So,
but they are salesmen, and I find whenever there's a market downturn, they go out and they're selling things. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur over there. So the competition, while the market's bigger, the competition must also be a lot bigger.
Oh, it is.
And the novelty of being Australian can only work so far.
The better the competition, the more fun, the bigger the win. You just got to be smarter and do it better than anyone else. Now, where you say, yeah, the economy over there, what's great, our Australian dollar. Most things are manufactured in Southeast Asia. So our Australian dollar is so strong, and over there, you pay for everything in US dollars. So we're having a great time. If you manufacture here, or over there, sorry.
I was going to say, if you manufacture here, you'd be having a problem.
Like $1,000. But if you manufacture in Asia and you're selling in the US, it's a great time to be in business.
No wonder our manufacturers, another nail in the coffin of our manufacturing industry. I've lived in the US a couple of times. There is no doubt they have a great affection for everything Australian. No sign the novelty's wearing off, because that again is part of your success, isn't it? Their absolute love affair with all things Australian.
Well, yeah, and you do have to play your card you're dealt with. And just
at least I looked at the pictures. You weren't wearing an Akubra hat or one of those silly raincoats, were you? Tell me you didn't have to do any of that,
No, I never did that. Never had to do any of that. It was educational. It was always educational.
But again, the Jamie Duras and thing, there are other people who have paved the way, I guess, with that interest in Australia and the Aussie icons.
They certainly have done that. Taking in mind, whilst I did love TV and I liked doing what I was doing over there, there was always a reason for it, and that was to grow Redback tools and sell product.
Now tell me this, I have to ask this question. I see people like you, they get something in, it's success, they move on to somewhere else. Are Redback tools still selling, or without you doing your bit? So they actually are in there.
Still, I don't know if they're doing I don't know if they're doing as well, but yeah, they're still going.
Did you have to find a handsome bloke from Florida or something to sell them?
No, we found a new CEO, and he's certainly not handsome. He's doing a not too bad job.
Okay, well, you move on to it. Jake Tyson, thank you very much.
Thank
Jake's
you.
with the new company, it's called PacificLaunch.com. Have a look if you want to break into the US, because we know Australian retail, there's not much hope there at the moment. So that'll shut them all up about internet selling. Just go over there. There's one idea. Anyway, that's all for tonight, but I'll be back tomorrow night at 6:30 on Sky News Business, or again at 9:30 if you missed the early one. Don't miss it.